ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਭਾਰਤ ਰਣਨੀਤਿਕ ਭਾਈਵਾਲੀ ਫੋਰਮ ਨੇ ਵਾਸ਼ਿੰਗਟਨ ਡੀਸੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣਾ 9ਵਾਂ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਸੰਮੇਲਨ ਸਫਲਤਾਪੂਰਵਕ ਆਯੋਜਿਤ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਸਰਕਾਰੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰੀਆਂ, ਵਪਾਰਕ ਨੇਤਾਵਾਂ, ਨੀਤੀ ਨਿਰਮਾਤਾਵਾਂ, ਡਿਪਲੋਮੈਟਾਂ, ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਰਣਨੀਤਿਕ ਮਾਹਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਭਾਰਤ ਭਾਈਵਾਲੀ ਦੀ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਭਵਿੱਖ ਦੀ ਪੁਸ਼ਟੀ ਕਰਨ ਅਤੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ 250 ਦਾ ਜਸ਼ਨ ਮਨਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਦੱਸ ਦੇਈਏ ਕਿ ਸੰਮੇਲਨ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ USISPF ਬੋਰਡ ਮੈਂਬਰਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਅਮਰੀਕੀ ਵਪਾਰ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਨਿਧੀ ਰਾਜਦੂਤ ਜੈਸਮਿਨ ਗਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਕਾਰ ਬੰਦ ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ੇ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਈ, ਜੋ ਹੁਣੇ ਹੀ ਭਾਰਤ ਤੋਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂਬਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਭਾਰਤ ਵਪਾਰ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਗਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਅੰਤਰਿਮ ਵਪਾਰ ਸਮਝੌਤੇ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਯਤਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ। USISPF ਨੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਮਰੀਕੀ ਰਾਜਦੂਤ ਅਤੇ ਦੱਖਣੀ ਅਤੇ ਮੱਧ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਦੂਤ ਰਾਜਦੂਤ ਸਰਜੀਓ ਗੌਰ, ਸੰਯੁਕਤ ਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਰਾਜਦੂਤ ਅਤੇ ਰਾਜਦੂਤ ਵਿਨੇ ਮੋਹਨ ਕਵਾਤਰਾ ਅਤੇ ਸੰਯੁਕਤ ਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਰਾਜਦੂਤ ਮਾਰਕ ਡੀ ਵਾਈਸਮੈਨ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕੀਤਾ। ਇਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕੀਤੇ।
I think the circumstances that placed me in this position, in this chair, are very unique. And in my first year at the White House, when I was Director of Presidential Personnel, when a new president comes into office, there's 4,000 positions open. And it was that role that the president trusted me with to fill those positions. And so today, when an issue does come up, I don't have to call 20 levels down. And there's no long process. Because almost every secretary that we have in our cabinet is a friend of mine. I talk to Secretary Rubio sometimes 3 times a day. And you name the sector, whether it's Scott Bessent or Jameson Greer or any of those, I consider them friends, and they are friends. Some of them I've known for years before. So it's extremely efficient to be able to take that, to pick up the phone, and somebody on the other end answers. I'll give you an example. We had a group of American pharmaceuticals companies and Indian pharmaceutical companies, and had some issues. And they just had things that were getting stuck, and have been stuck that way for several years. And as they're in my office, I was able to call Secretary Kennedy. And within a week, he arranged a video call where he involved 4 or 5 other people, including the heads of CDC, FDA, all these other entities that are involved in this. So I hope everybody here is here for the week and is able to see that. There's going to be an absolutely spectacular flyover of things that you might have never seen before. So I highly encourage that. Also, the President will be giving a speech. There'll be several performances right here in the National Mall. So come on, come all, bring all your friends.
All right. Awesome. Have a great week. Thank you for being here. And thanks for what you're doing for all of us.
Thank you, Jeff.
And in each of these,
the first principles for us, I would say, in many ways, they are foundational to us. The first principles that shape our approach is the priority of economic growth, prosperity, and national security of people of India. That's foundational and the first principles for us. Naturally, keeping that in mind, we obviously closely monitor, observe, respond to whatever is happening around the world, globally, both in terms of the emerging opportunity landscape, but also the areas that throw challenges at us. Geopolitical, economic disruptions are very much part. Converging these two allows us to shape our global partnerships around the world. These are the 3 features which triangulate between them to them. Now, what that has meant domestically for us in India under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi since 2014 has been a series of economically transformative measures on the ground which have resulted in a consistently high growth of 7+%.
well, thank you, and thank you for having me, and Sachin, thank you for those kind words. I was the chair of his compensation committee prior to becoming ambassador. I'm no longer the chair, so I actually think his words might be sincere now. But look, first of all, let me start by talking about North American trade and then talk about India, because I think North American trade, since the first free trade agreement between Canada and the United States, which came into force in 1988, has benefited the continent incredibly well. Both Canada and the US, and indeed Mexico, have seen our economies prosper as we've integrated supply chains, as comparative advantage has come to the fore, as we've made it easier for people and products and services to move seamlessly across the border. So, I think the first thing I would say is that North America should be viewed as a shining example.
Now we've come to the time in our program for the USISPF Distinguished Public Service Awards. Every year, USISPF honors those public servants whose distinguished service to the American people has strengthened the U.S.-India strategic partnership. It's an opportunity for us to recognize their outstanding bipartisan leadership. Tonight, we are pleased to honor two such distinguished leaders for their enduring contribution to this most consequential of relationships. Please join me in welcoming USISPF Chairman John Chambers to the stage to introduce the first of these awards.
Occasionally, in an event like this, you get to introduce somebody that is a great friend, somebody that you admire, somebody you share common interests with, and somebody who can just get things done. The first time I met Steve, I felt immediately a common set of values, characteristics, an outdoorsman by nature, a family person, but somebody who was very quiet, and he could just make things happen behind the scenes. He is married to his wife Cindy, and she's amazing. You can see your eyes light up, Steve, when you talk about her. They have 4 kids and 7 grandkids in 7 years. You'd have to tell me the secret to that. I've only got 2 grandkids, but I'm working on it. And you saw in a short time period that team came together to make major progress. So please join me in welcoming and congratulations to the award, Senator Steve Daines, a great friend and somebody out of there. Tremendous. Thank you, Steve.
Good evening, my friends. It's really a privilege to be here and a great honor to get this award from you. Reminds me of a story that I heard some time back. A wealthy businessman did very well, and the young reporter came and asked him, "How did you do it? How did you make all this money?" He said, "It was a depression, son. I took a little apple, bought it for 5 cents, polished it up, sold it for 10. Next day, bought another apple, polished it up, sold it for 10 cents. And within a month, I had $1. This is the depression, $1. And so the young reporter says, "So that's how you make your money?" He says, "No. My wife's father passed away, we got $2 million. Now, I didn't have that luck. I came to Canada with very little money, like many of you came to this wonderful country, the United States. And it's such a wonderful, North America, such a wonderful country, 2 countries that have unlimited potential. And I saw that myself in my experience.
Take risks with each other. And the U.S. turns 250 years. In 2047, India will turn 100 years. And through that relationship, I think there are a lot of, you'll actually apply the same test you said about companies. There are a lot of countries which don't exist today. We know the United States is going to be here for a long time. We know India is going to be here a long time. As Ambassador Gore said, it's going to outlast us all. And our role here is to strengthen that relationship and to think as long-term investors. So thank you all for coming. That was-
Great summary, great summary.
Thank you very much.
A shout out to my friend Mukesh Nagi. Mukesh is an incredible leader. Let's give him a round of applause. And I think he had coffee with me when I was at 3% in the polls 10 years ago, and has been a family friend and just a wonderful leader. And I appreciate Preeti on my team for helping me with the U.S.-India Council. Now, you know, I'm not one to mince words. I sort of tell things as they are. The U.S.-India relationship has been at the lowest point in the last 30 years. Trump's policies of getting into a war in Iran has been utterly disruptive. It has been utterly disruptive to the prices in India of gas. Talk to Jay Shankar if you don't believe me. The idea that we engaged in a unilateral war without our allies, without even consulting Europe or Canada or India, and made a mess of the world, has hurt our credibility.
Thank you very much, Maliki. It's a great pleasure to be here for the annual Leadership Summit of the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum, and to be introduced by Maliki Nugent, who was my Treasury Attaché while I was in New Delhi. I've had the privilege of being deeply involved in this relationship for the past 25 years, both as a government official and in the private sector. And I've always been pleased that the relationship was one that was bipartisan, that we approached India from both sides of the aisle and came together on the importance of that relationship. And that's why I feel it is inappropriate to use this as a partisan forum for one's political point of view. Now, having said that, while many of us are quite familiar with the recent story of bilateral ties, you may not be as familiar with some of the history of this relationship, and the fact that India and the United States have been intertwined in fascinating ways for several centuries. Indeed, no two nations so far apart geographically have been so closely connected as the United States and India. It was when Christopher Columbus sailed in search of a western route to India and Asia that he came across the Americas. And we know the significance of that development.
My name is Rajan Natarajan. I'm joining with my good friend Elisha Purivarthi, he is the president of US-India SME Council. We are speaking for Washington, D.C. from the US-India Strategic Partnership Leadership Summit hosted by US ISP. Our great friend Dr. Mukesh Nagi hosted this one. He invited us. We had a great chance to meet with the ambassador of India, Dr. Gotra, and also US Ambassador India. It's a very powerful summit having discussion and conversation on trade and policies. We are fortunate, and still this conference going on. They are going to go back to attend the conference. Thank you.